And the watchman sounded the alarm to warn the people to come out of Babylon, which is confusion. The watchman says, "Fear the Lord and keep his commandments, for his great day of judgment is at hand. And who will be able to stand?"
And so when the Church of England imposed this harsh penalty upon people who practice Christmas, they moved it to New Year's Eve. Now, New Year's Eve historically in the North was known as Hogmanay. Originally, the New Year for the Romans was March 1st. That was the New Year, not January 1st. So all of you who on January 1st, where was I on January 1st? You're waiting for the light to go up in Times Square. The reality is, for the Romans, March 1st was the beginning of the year. And when you look at the number 7 in Latin, you find Septem. So September was the 7th month, October, November, December. And so you find that the Latin words for these last months, October, November, December, 8, 9, and 10. So these weren't the last months of the year. It was 8, 9, and 10. And so what actually happened was, when they imposed the new year on January, it is for the ancient god, or their so-called god called Janus, the two-faced god, two faces, who shows you one face and behind it is another face, the master hypocrite. And so this is what is going on at this occasion. And we find now that on January 1st, right on that evening, December 31st, when it changes, you find people are usually drinking. They're involved in some sexual activity at that time. The whole concept of Jesus and monotheism is lost. It is the other religion. And when you look at history, you find that this individual called Mithra was born on December 25th. He was supposed to be the son of the sun god himself, and they had a special sacrament made up of bread and wine, and they would make this drink during this time, and supposedly he died for the sins of the people. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But when you try to find Mithra or Mithras in the encyclopedias, they, through state intervention, erased the name. Why is this? That is because after the time of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, when his followers, when the message began to spread, and they went north, and you'll see within historical writings that Barnabas, one of his disciples, met a man named Saul, or Paul, who later called himself Paul. Paul said he saw Jesus on the Damascus road. And he went to the disciples, but the disciples turned against Paul. Only Barnabas stayed with him. But when Paul and Barnabas went into Greece, Barnabas left him. Now, what is the reason why they all left him? What are the concepts coming through Paul? Many people say, well, they left him because he was Saul before, and he used to torture the early followers of Isa alayhi salam. But also you can see, and if you look at present-day Christianity, that most of the concepts of the Trinity, of the blood sacrifice, the original sin, and most of the concepts which relate to more than one God are coming through Paul. The preachers are quoting Paul sometime more than Jesus during their sermons. And somewhere in the early days, in Rome or Greece, somewhere in that area, those missionaries who were teaching the teachings of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, met with this force coming from the north. And so you will see in ancient Roman history that in some cases the Roman emperor would go out to the Colosseum, and the gladiators would be fighting each other, and everybody's cheering for the gladiators, Sounds like one of our football games. They would go to the Colosseum, right? And the gladiators would fight. And then if one of the gladiators was down, and they would look at the emperor, should I kill him or not? And if he wanted to kill him, he would say, he would go like that. Right? You know, that sign down. If he said keep him alive, he goes like this. You know how we use it today? Yes. Okay? He gives that sign. Okay? One of the terrible things happening during these rituals at the Colosseum is that they would bring the Christians out, literally men, women, and children, and feed them to hungry animals. They would take a hyena or a wolf or a lion and get it hungry and crazy and beat it and throw raw meat at it and then send it out on the people, and they would literally cheer and watch as the animal ripped the bodies apart. This is a terrible culture. Tear the bodies apart. And so somewhere along the line, somebody who couldn't take the torture, who felt that maybe we can win these people over, made a compromise. And you start to see changes going on from the early part of the Christian era in Southern Europe, where the major ceremonies held by the nature worshiping people are combined with Christian names and Christian ceremonies, and therefore what comes forth to us is a mixture with the two streams coming together, where you get a monotheistic name or a monotheistic character with a pagan ceremony. And so the mixture of this together is what is giving us the present day holidays that we see.